Welcome back to the Live It podcast. I'm so excited to have you guys back here again since checking out my intro for like the past 2 weeks. But today I'm doing an episode getting to know your host. So I basically posted on all of my social media platforms. I told all of my followers just to send me some questions that you would like to know about me. And I was going to do a pop-up episode right before my grand release on Monday, April 13th. So, yeah, it's getting to know your host. So I picked a total of 8 questions that I want to do because a lot of them were kind of repeating themselves, like, oh, why'd you decide to do this? Blah, blah, blah. So I just was like, you know what, let me just choose 8. I'm not calling anyone's names, but okay, so the first question, where are you from? So I was born and raised in Broward County, Florida. For those of you who do not know, that is minutes away from Miami, Florida. I feel like everybody knows Miami, but it's minutes away from Miami, Florida. My parents are both from Bimini, Bahamas, which is a 7-mile long island, half-mile wide, very, very tiny island. Everybody knows everybody. So, a Bamerican. I like to say that I'm like right in the middle. I'm not too Bahamian, but I'm not too American. So yes, and that is where I am from. Let's see. The next question that I am going to do, what made you want to start podcasting? I got that one like 6 times. What made me want to start podcasting? One day I was literally just searching through YouTube, just like looking for self-help videos and something to help me to get out of the trenches that I had put myself in, just with like mentally, physically, financially. Like I just needed some type of motivation, and I was just searching, like just trying to figure out how to build my credit score and all that stuff. I ended up coming across a lady by the name of Patrice Washington. She has a podcast, which at that time I didn't know that I was actually listening to a podcast. I just thought it was just videos. It started off as just like interviews with her, and I kind of searched her some more. Found out that she had this podcast named Redefining Wealth. So I'm like, okay, well, yeah, she's like a financial expert. Blah blah blah. She was on the Steve Harvey show. Let me see what she has to say about fixing credit. Not knowing that this would take me into a whole journey of self-help, because in her teaching she teaches about redefining wealth, wealth being more than just money and material things. It's about self-worth, with your well-being. So it just kind of took me on like this journey of just all of these motivational speakers, people who are just like going pretty much through different like life situations that just had them in a slum or just had them down and all this stuff or whatever. So I got into that. Like she just was like a whole pick me upper for me, like just what the doctor ordered. And the more I listened to her, I was like, you know what, I could do this. Like I like to talk. I'm entertaining. Like I can talk all day. So I was like, okay, I'm making a podcast. So another one of the questions was, why relationships? Okay, when I started to like get these thoughts of creating a podcast, I was thinking like, okay, if I'm gonna do this, I have to do this about something that I'm knowledgeable, something that I'm knowledgeable about, and also something that I'm passionate about. Because I don't want to be here talking about politics. I don't even understand politics. So I was like, okay. So like I just kind of started like journaling, which was really weird because, we're taught like after we get out of school, nobody even wants to write anymore. But this has been like so therapeutic for me. So I started journaling. And I'm just writing all these ideas down or whatever, all these topics and stuff. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to do this about relationships. Okay, so why relationships? Well, yeah, I've been dating since I was like 16. A lot of ups and downs, some way off the wall stories. And I just was like, you know what? If I can use what I've been through to kind of detour one person from going down that road, from avoiding that type of person, from knowing what to do, like when you're just absolutely broken and have to rebuild yourself, that's perfect. Like, so I'm like, okay, I'm going to do this on relationships. I think that was like the third question because y'all not gonna be sneaking no bunch of questions from me. Another question: do you think this could be a new career path? Well, I'm just feeling this out. I actually like this is actually something I'm really passionate about. So like I enjoy doing this. It's not like my job, which I don't like most days. So I definitely think this can be a new career path, and if it does, I'll be so excited because who doesn't want to get paid to do what they love? Okay, next question. Blah 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 blah. I wrote down a bunch, so I'm like kind of picking through the ones that I want to answer or I think would be more helpful to try to get to know me. Describe your relationship. Whew. Lord, put on your seatbelt because this is a whole roller coaster. My relationship, it's a pain, I must say. Like me and my boyfriend have been through like the trenches. You know, like those people who start like speaking like, yeah, it's been rough, but we hung in there. Like I felt like we've done everything wrong, but somehow we're like finally getting things right. We've been together since I was like him and I only a few months apart. So I would say we've been together since we was about I want to say 17. So like 11 years now. And it's been a real roller coaster. I think we did everything that we weren't supposed to do, and now we're doing everything that we should have done. So our relationship is like it's growing, it's evolving. Like I said, we've been through the trenches, and I'm just glad that we've seen that we've done pretty much everything wrong. We're able to do the things that we need to do to actually get it right, and we have two beautiful kids together. And there's nothing more that I would like than to be with someone that I love and also loves my kids 100%, and that's him. So my relationship isn't perfect, but every day we're working towards getting it right. Also, I hope I answered your question. Also, what was your most embarrassing moment? My most embarrassing moment, I would have to say, I remember one time me and my brother went to TGI Fridays to get drinks, and on the way from TGI Friday, which was literally only like, I want to say 10 minutes away from my house, I was like, I had drank so much. I'm like, I gotta pee. I gotta pee. He was like, okay, we'll be home in like 5 minutes. And I'm like, no, I gotta pee now. And he's like, wait, what? So he's like, I'm like, let me out of this car. It's coming. It's coming. So he like literally had to pull over on the side of the road. And here I was like just stooping down, peeing in the front of my brother. It was just like, oh, I can't believe I let it get this far. But that was so embarrassing. Shout out Kyrie. I love you, brother. Another one is, what was the lowest point in your life? I feel like I've had a lot of those. The lowest point in my life, I'm gonna go with my most recent lowest point. My most recent lowest point. Don't tell nobody, guys, because this was like a secret. Nobody knew all of this was going on. So the lowest point in my life, I would have to go with. I had just had my son. My son was, I don't know, few weeks, few days. So my boyfriend and I we're working on getting this grocery store up and running in the Bahamas. So blah, blah, blah. So he's over in the Bahamas and he's working on the grocery store, trying to get everything set up, building the shelves, importing all the products that we're going to be selling, blah, blah, blah. So I had just had the baby, and my lease was about to end at the next month after I had the baby. So I'm like, I need something bigger. Like, I don't want to be in this apartment anymore. Like, I need something bigger. So I'm like, okay, well, I have money saved up, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to go get this bigger house. But so after the lease was up, I was searching for the housing, but everything was just falling through because little did I know, you could have all the money in the world, but if you don't have the credit to back you, to hold you accountable for what you're signing for, no one wants to sign to you. So I'm like, I'm like, I have all this money in the bank and I can't even like sign on nothing because my credit was so effed up. Like I couldn't get anything. So I ended up just saying, you know what, I'm not gonna resign this lease because just because things aren't working out. Like, let me just go out on faith and everything's gonna work out or whatever. So I ended up did not resigning the lease. I said, okay, well, I'm on maternity leave anyway. I just had the baby. I'm just gonna move to the Bahamas. That's where I can be more hands on with this new upcoming business venture or whatever, and then still have the help with the baby and all that stuff. So I moved to the Bahamas for about a month. As I'm in the Bahamas, I'm still kind of searching, like contacting the realtor, blah, blah, blah. She's sending me pictures, this and that, or whatever. And she's like, no, no, you're good, you're good, you're good. Not knowing that my vision for what I wanted was bigger than what my credit score could support. So it was just like a disaster. It was a disaster. So, my sister ended up reaching out to me and she's like, okay, well, just come in. You can come and stay with me while you try to figure everything out or whatever, blah, blah, blah. Because at that time, I had already been in the Bahamas for a month and I had to get back to work or whatever. I had already extended my maternity leave. So they're like, okay, either you're going to come back within this next month or we can't hold the job for you anymore. Of course, they would say that. So I'm like, okay, fine, whatever. I move in with my sister or whatever. And I've literally been on my own, I want to say, pretty much on my own since I was like 18. Like, pretty much like have my own place, not answering to anybody, not having to discuss anything with anybody aside from my boyfriend, of course. But like that took me for a loop. Like I felt so like failed just because I had the money to do what I wanted to do, but at the same time, I was so naive about how big your credit score actually plays a part in your everyday life because these aren't the things that I grew up learning about. So once I got out on my own and I have this baby now, I was like 18. I did not know exactly how it worked or whatever. So at that point, like I was just getting offered credit card, credit card, credit card, and I'm just like using these credit card like it's free money, not knowing that okay, 5 years later, yeah, you never paid that bill, but now it's gonna catch up with you because they're like weighing down your credit score, and it looks like you you're irresponsible in a nutshell. So I ended up moving in with my sister. Lucky thing is, well, I don't believe in luck, so it was a blessing for me and my family that she welcomed me with open arms. Like, yeah, it's all good and gravy. And at that time, she was going through some personal stuff, and then I was going through the personal stuff, just feeling like a failure because now I'm moving in with someone, which was like in my head it was like the worst. That's the rock bottom for me. If I have to move in with somebody, I've hit rock bottom. So she was going through some things. I was going through some things, and I was just so frustrated. And my kid's father was in the Bahamas working on the store, and I felt like we weren't his top priority at that time. And he was like, I'm already here. I gotta get this store running. I'm like, no, 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 no. I need somewhere to live. And he's like, okay, well, she said that she open the door to you, just chill out or whatever. And I was livid. Like I was like, what? Da da da. Like I was livid, and I ended up like leaving. I'm like, you know what? I'm done with this. I'm not doing this with you anymore. So we ended up splitting up for a while. I want to say like a year, maybe like 9 months. We ended up splitting up, but I must say in that year, living with my sister, because I had two kids, she had three, she has three. I just felt like God like just worked it all out that me and her pretty much got stuck together, and it was just such a blessing. Like it was therapeutic just to have somebody who understands like what you're going through, like the pressure that's on you, and like just could open their arms and not try to bash you or make you feel bad because you made a bad decision or you didn't know that it works a certain way. Like I felt like at that age, anybody else would be like, "Are you stupid? You didn't know you needed this credit score to move here, or you didn't know that you needed this to move into this." And it was like, I was just so happy, like I didn't have to deal with that because I already felt like beep. I'm not even gonna say, but like it that was. I think that was really the point where I kind of started like seeking out the self-help, and that's how I ended up running into Patrice Washington. So I felt like, it all played its part. It was pretty much all written. Like, it had to go on, it had to go the way it went. And I'm glad it did, because for one, I learned a valuable lesson that I need to fix my credit score. So I used that year living with my sister to just kind of like save money, build up my credit score, and just kind of build up my faith in God and build up myself. Like, I used that whole time just to like we had fun and everything, but it just was like a therapeutic, like something I had to go through just to kind of make me more. As much as I complained about that apartment that I left before I ended up moving in with my sister, I would have killed to get that apartment back. I even went back to the leasing office, like, do you still have my apartment available? I need that back. And she's like, no. So it was like, it just taught me a lesson that I should be grateful for what I have, just to be more responsible, making sure that my credit score and I'm paying my bills on time, and just doing the things I need to be doing. And definitely like just rebuilding myself. I was single and I didn't have to answer to anybody, and I just used that time to really kind of take a breath and just kind of strategize my whole life. And I was able to stumble upon like different self-help podcasts and different things like that to help me to get to where I am right now. So that was definitely my rock bottom, and it definitely built me up, and I hope I never see that bottom again. Another one. I'm gonna do two more. Oh, this was another one. What was your biggest obstacle and how did you overcome it? My biggest obstacle, I would have to say, is when I had my daughter. I was literally 17 and pregnant, literally just fresh out of high school. I had her when I was 18, and it's like, I don't know, people just feel like once you have a baby, you pretty much throw away your whole life. And it was like, I kind of felt judged, and I felt like people didn't remember like who I was. Like, people are acting like, "Ugh," because I'm a teenage pregnancy. Now I'm a statistic. I'm not even a person anymore. So it took me a while to figure out that like I have to use this teenage pregnancy to what's the word I'm looking for? I have to allow this mistake, as some people would call it, to rebuild myself. And honestly, my daughter is like the best thing that has ever happened to me. Like, that's one of the my kids are like the one thing that I feel like I didn't mess up. Like, she's like so outgoing, so funny, so energetic, so smart, so caring, so passionate. And I use her every day to like motivate me, like, no, this isn't good enough. You got to get better. This is mediocre. No, 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 no. This neighborhood is mediocre. She deserves better. This home is mediocre. She deserves better. This school is mediocre. She deserves better. Like, I am constantly pushing myself to give her, and my son as well. But he just came in the latter years. She's been there from like day one. So I've always used her to kind of push myself. Like, from I had her, I was always working. I always had a job, and I always wanted to provide for her. I never wanted her to go without or see hungry days or whatever. So definitely, that was a huge obstacle that I had to overcome, the shame of that, of being a teenage pregnancy. I had to, just the negativity that was like filling around me. But like, I just had to learn to prove people wrong, like prove people wrong, and just worry about myself. Like, I can't spend my time worrying about what people call me. It was what I answered to at the end of the day, and my biggest obstacle became my biggest blessing. So thank God for that. One more. I don't know if I did 8, but I'm gonna do one more. Drum roll, please, for the very last question. Oh, somebody messaged me, said, "Who DF is Guerin Jones?" So I mentioned that a quote from Guerin Jones in my podcast intro where I said, Guerin Jones once stated that he felt as if he was living several people's lives or whatever. So, everybody keeps asking, who is Guerin Jones? So Guerin Jones, so funny because how the person worded it, with like all the exclamations and question marks. Guerin Jones is the author of a book called Change Your Mindset, Change Your Life. So I was watching this interview that he did on Patrice Washington's podcast or whatever, and he was just explaining like just how broken and broke and unsuccessful his life was. He basically explained how things would always go wrong. It'd just be literally one thing after another. And like he's passionately telling the story, like it'd be one thing after another. And he was saying how he would say, okay, it can't get no worse than this. And it would always get worse. It can't get no worse than this. It would always get worse. So he said one day he had just reached his like breaking point. Like that was his version of his rock bottom. He reached his breaking point and he just was like, God, okay, I give up. Like, I just want to be happy. I just want to be healthy. Like, I want to be rich, but I want like my riches to define who I am and the things that I've done or whatever. And then he also talks about how he questioned God about why I felt like he was living several people's lives. Like it just like his dad died at an early age. His mom was like living from paycheck to paycheck. He went to jail in France. He got money, he lost it, just one thing after the other or whatever. And his story is just so inspirational because he just talks about how he was in a parking lot at a gas station and a beggar begged him for some money, like, hey, can I have $1? And he was like, man, you probably got more money than me. So he was like, this is what the beggar said to him. The beggar said, change your mindset, change your life. And he was like, what? So the beggar says, change your mindset, change your life. So he was like, he just started thinking, change your mindset, change your life, change your mindset, change your life. And it was just like, he was like, everything that he used to do, he just started doing the opposite. He never used to exercise, so he started exercising. He never used to write things down, so he started writing things down. And just all these different things life changes he started to make, and he watched his life do like a full turn. And like now he has his books and he's an inspirational speaker, and he basically says that millionaire status isn't, everyone isn't going to get it, but it's open to everyone. So he was very inspirational to me. I liked him though. He's very inspirational. So if you guys are like looking for like a pick-me-upper or something, because I feel like we get so trapped in the rat race that we just lose focus on what our purpose is and what we're here to do, and we're just kind of like working. We're not working toward anything. We're just working. We work, we pay bills. And it's just so important to keep yourself encouraged, keep yourself motivated, keep yourself pumped up, because you will get lost and you'll wake up 5 years later like you lost so much time. You were working, and you weren't working towards anything. So if you guys want to check him out, his book is really good as well. So someone asked me, what is the definition of true love? I'm still trying to figure that out. So if you ask that question, I'm sorry, but we're going to have to answer that another time. So my very last question, someone asked me who is Liv and why did I choose that name? Well, my name's Lavencia, which means there's no documented definition for it. My mom's name is Lashanti and my dad's name is Vincent. And they said, hey, we're going to slap this together and call her Lavencia. And here I am. So Liv is just pretty much short for Lavencia. And it just was a God-given idea to name the podcast Liv Did Podcast. Because we just go through so many things. We live through so many things, but not only have we lived it, but we survived it. So, I'm Liv, and this is the Lived It Podcast. Thank you guys for listening to Getting to Know Your Host. Remember that my episode will be, my very, very, very first official podcast episode will be dropping Monday, April 13th. and every Monday thereafter. I'm so excited to have you guys here. I'm so excited to be doing this, and I hope you guys tune in. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and if you like it, leave me 5 stars. If you don't like it, just move on gracefully. Have a great day, stay safe, and don't forget to wash your hands, guys. Wash your hands.